Here are some car buying tricks that will save you a lot of money. Now, maybe you think you know all of them, but there are some new ones out there because of the way cars are being sold these days. And this is why it's really important to have car smarts. Car dealerships can be very intimidating, and the process of buying a car can be especially scary for those who don't know these tricks, and those who think they do, you need to hear some of the new ones. Purchasing a new car is one of life's more exciting experiences, but it can be overwhelming and expensive if you don't know how to follow some of these simple car buying rules. And fortunately, there are loads of resources available to help you that weren't there in the past. And to have that perfect car at an affordable price will make you smile. Every buyer should do their research first. Buying a car is the second largest purchase decision most people make after buying a home, and it can be very stressful and an overwhelming experience. And consumers are faced with 30 plus brands, 300 models, and there are often questions around whether you should lease or whether you should buy, whether you should buy new, whether you should buy used, and how much should you pay. And doing the research to figure out all those answers to some of those questions before stepping into the dealership will help you be more prepared. This may seem obvious, but you need to determine how much you can afford. And the first thing you'll want to do is set a budget and stick to it. Remember to consider the full price of the vehicle, including taxes, fees, potential interest, and don't just shop to that monthly payment, because that's a mistake, especially if you're looking at an electric vehicle. There are some things you need to know in advance. Determine your must-haves and nice-to-haves. You'll want to determine what you really need. Is it heated seats, a heated steering wheel? What fits your lifestyle? Whether that is a car, a compact SUV, a pickup truck, there's lots of choices, including wagons. Then you want to research that vehicle online and read reviews, not just Car Coach reports, but others, and even ask your friends, family, coworkers, even a stranger in a parking lot. Having some flexibility on models and options can help with the process and kind of look at things before you walk into the dealership. Then you want to narrow down your options. And if you can narrow down your options to 2 or 3 models, it'll be a lot easier to compare actual vehicles at your local dealerships and online, because this is what local dealers forget. You can get on the internet, and that we'll talk about too. Before we continue, I want to remind you to subscribe and click that little bell for notifications so you don't miss anything. We give you more than car reviews and first looks of new vehicles. We give you car smarts, because knowledge is power. If you have a trade-in, you want to get an estimate on that trade-in for its value. About 40% of people who buy from a dealership have a car they're looking at to dispose of, so don't forget about that trade-in, because you can use online tools to see how much your car is worth based on the condition. And you have to be honest with yourself. Once you know the value of your existing car, then you can help inform you what you can afford for the transaction price. And remember, there is a tax credit in most states that you would use toward the new purchase. The one thing people forget to do is play the dealers against each other to get the best price. And that includes online dealer purchases. They could be in another state that's a few states away. You can always fly there and pick it up. As for how to negotiate car prices, let the dealers do the legwork for you. If you hate talking on the phone, I recommend emailing a few dealers just to ask what their best price, their drive-away price is on these specific vehicles. And if you don't mind talking to a real human that's been being there in person in real time, is better. But phone calls work well too. Then once you get those quotes, you can play them against each dealer so that you can get the best price. Because dealers will often say they won't compete against another dealer, but they will if you show them a better competing offer for the same model. And that's where printing it out can be to your advantage. Then you want to determine how will you pay for this vehicle. Whether you're a first-time car buyer or you've bought your share of cars, you'll want to have your loan options ready to go before going to the dealership. That has changed a lot. So if you're not paying cash, which I don't recommend, but people do, and I know a lot of people that do, you will want to prepare for your car loan. Now, there are 2 big factors here that are your credit score and the length of your loan. It's advisable to keep your loan terms as short as possible. Don't go with those 7-year loans. They are never worth it. Even though you think your payments are smaller, you want to put less money in interest because you're going to pay a lot of interest over the life of that vehicle. And don't forget to check with credit unions, your local bank, and the dealer because they have deals as well. Don't forget to ask for special financing offers. There might be financing offers available to make your car loan even more affordable, but you won't know about them unless you ask. And at the dealership, to ask about special financing offers, they are always willing to show you something because manufacturers have that available through their leasing programs or through their purchase programs. So often, auto manufacturers will have that special financing posted on their website as well, and that you need to check out before you walk into a dealership or start making the deal. Consider bringing a friend or a family member with you to the dealership. It never hurts to bring along a trusted friend or a relative. Share your list of questions and wants with them so they know that they can be an advocate for you and help you on your behalf to keep you from getting distracted into those things that look really cool and you gotta have them. Even though it's shiny and all that stuff sounds good, you wanna stick with what you need and don't go for that too good to be true offer. That's where a good friend can help you. Another thing that people forget about is getting their emotions involved in the car buying process. Try your best to remove your emotions from the vehicle purchasing process and do your homework. Oh, I love that color, or I love those options, or I love those seats, or whatever it might be. Take that emotion out of it because there's a lot of factors. And that's why you want to do your research on the make, the model, your priority list, the options that are available, and your needs versus wants for your purchase. Then you're going to test drive the car. Whether you're buying new or used, it's critical to test drive the vehicle and do a full vehicle walk around and get the questions that you have answered before you make any commitments or start talking about how much. A car is the most complicated thing we buy, and we should understand exactly what you're buying before you start getting into the offer. I also highly recommend test driving multiple cars. You might have a good idea of the car you want, but it's best to test drive multiple cars, multiple manufacturers, and even multiple dealers, and plan to test drive 3 vehicles in that category before you make a decision. Take the salesperson's card, tell them, I'll get back to you as soon as I figure out what that is, and then do so. It's important to make the most of your test drive. It's helpful to understand what to pay attention to during a test drive, such as parking and driving and all those things that we like to know about, but you'll likely be able to tell quickly if you're comfortable with the vehicle, the way the vehicle handles and it performs for you, and it's different for everyone. However, don't feel rushed or pressured during a test drive. Take your time and really familiarize yourself with the features and ask questions throughout the drive. That's why it's good to bring someone with you so that they can help you. And the salesperson is there to be a resource. More so than selling, they want to make sure you are in the right car as well. Have an outside mechanic look at the vehicle before purchasing a used car. As for tips for buying a used car, make sure you know exactly what condition the car is in and find out if it's had any repairs, and especially repairs that need to be made, because that will be on you or the dealer if that's part of your negotiations. So before you buy, ask the dealership to have the vehicle inspected by a mechanic of your choice, and they should agree to that. Most will be perfectly fine with this, and you'll be able to get an honest opinion from a trusted source such as an ASE certified mechanic to make sure everything looks the way it should. Odds are good that your local mechanic has experience with the same make and model, and even better, they know what problems will occur, and the most common problems they'll be able to detect. If you're buying a used car, get any promised repairs in writing. And if you're buying a pre-owned car, on the agreement that something needs to be fixed, have it stated that the repair must be done before you agree to buy the car. And if you see something questionable, tell the dealer you'd like to buy the car, but would like the service department to check any of the leaks or squeaks or anything you notice. And yes, you can ask for those things. Don't make a final decision without consulting with your insurance company first. Before you make any decisions, you want to make sure that your insurance company will write the policy for it and that you have coverage, what coverage it is, and what the rates are, because that can make a huge difference in your final choice. Then you want to trust your gut. don't buy a car if you don't feel good at the dealer. If the car buying process starts off on a bad foot, ask yourself how badly you need that car. And if you can't go somewhere else, believe me, some other dealership wants your business, and you can have the whole different experience there just about a mile down the road if this dealer doesn't treat you right. If the deal doesn't look good, don't be afraid to walk away. Be sure to take your time and do not be afraid that the door is just there and there's another dealership down the road. It's important to focus on finding the vehicle and the deal that's right for you. And don't feel pressured to buy on the spot. If you're unsure about buying a car or specific add-ons, ask the dealer if you can take some time to think that over. Ask what the timeline is to come back, and ask if you can go home and take a day or so to think about it. Finance managers will usually tell you the offer is good if you call them back within a day or two, but don't be surprised if they claim other people are looking at this vehicle and if you don't make a deal today, it's going to be sold. We've all heard that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's true. It's a sales tactic. If all this sounds frustrating and you really don't want to deal with it, consider purchasing a vehicle online. And if you're not comfortable with that whole dealership environment, this is a better way to go. I've purchased vehicles online. It's really easy, but I also like going into the dealer and making a local business connection. And you'll have a chance to do this when you purchase online because there's no pressure. Here's my rule of thumb. If it's meant to be, then it's meant to be. There are times you walk away, especially if you're unsure. There are millions of vehicles to choose from, and never be pressured into a specific car or a price or using a specific salesperson, because you will know when it's right and there should be no pressure to make the decision. Don't forget to check out my other videos on saving money, which is conquest and loyalty discounts, because it's another way to save a lot of money. We've got a lot of that on our Car Smart section. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this one. If you have any questions, and I expect that you will, put them down in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them. You can support me by buying me a cup of coffee. The link for that is in the description, plus all the links for our website, social media, the book, and the podcast. I'm Lauren Fix. Thank you so much for watching.